Hello, ladies. Welcome back to another episode of Perspectives with Sherry. I am your host, Sherry Ryan, and today we are welcomed with an amazing guest. Before I get a chance to introduce you to her and have her speak, I want to let you know if you're new here, this is a safe space for women in midlife. Over here, we talk about all things health, wealth, and empowerment, and all the wonderful things that feed into those categories. And so, March is International Women's Month. I am so excited to just feature so many dynamic women. And tonight we have another dynamic woman that we're going to talk to. So we have for you all this evening Mrs. Rochelle Moore Jones. She is a licensed therapist of 20 years, and she has experience working with individuals to assist them in bringing about meaningful change. Being sick is not a requirement to seek counseling. That's her motto. And her goal is to help manage the changes and transitions that are part of everyday living. Her intention is to teach strategies to help people gain and maintain wellness. And y'all, as if that isn't enough, she also is the owner and founder of Bay Street Botanicals, which is an amazing beauty and health and wellness brand. And she has a whole lot of things that we're going to talk about. So, welcome, Rochelle.
Sherry, it is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for thinking of me and inviting me to your platform. I'm
Absolutely.
happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. Another little tidbit for my audience out there. I have known Rochelle for many years. We went to high school together. So it is
Good.
wonderful when two women that started from, a little town in Carteret County, North Carolina, and we have both separate ways, but we have gone on to do wonderful and great things. And I am so proud to have her here tonight. Yes.
So glad
So
to be here. Who would have thought?
right? Exactly, right? So I have some questions for you, Rochelle, and we are going to get started. So I mentioned that you did have 20 years of experience in being a licensed therapist. How have you seen therapy evolve over time, and what trends do you find most exciting in the mental health field?
Well, like you said, and it's funny because I feel like I just kind of got started yesterday, but it's been like over 20 years. And when I got started, life was it's kind of like therapy changes, but then I change too because the view of the world is a little bit different. I started my journey with inpatient mental health for children. So children who were so severely troubled that they had to be behind locked doors. So for 2 years I did that, and I spent 20 years in the school system in addition to having a private practice. And now I work for employee assistance where we see everybody from ages 8 to 26. We see dependents from ages 8 to 26, and then we see, our staff members and other community companies. So how has mental health changed? I think mental health is a little more normalized. Um, Back when we were younger,
Okay.
I, I think mental health was something for crazy people. Well, he had to go up to Dorothea Dix. Well, he's on
Yeah.
Cherry Hill on the fifth floor, like things like that. It was very stigmatized. When now
Hmm.
therapy's for regular people, for everyday people, and
Hmm.
I have been an advocate for therapy forever. I feel like it's a tool that we all can use, and it should be normalized. Just like we go to the eye doctor, I've got my glasses around here somewhere once a year, no matter what. No one's ever like, no, I see good. I don't need to go to the eye doctor. Yes, you do.
Hmm.
And we go to the dentist twice a year. So I
Right.
feel like mental health is something we all need to run by and see our therapist a couple times a year just to keep it in the road.
I love that, which that actually goes into my next question. You kind of really touched on it, but you know how you mentioned that being sick is not a requirement for seeking counseling. And so I was, going to ask you how you define wellness in the context of therapy, why it's important for people to seek help, even when they aren't struggling with a major crisis. So I know you touched on it some, but maybe if you could hone in a little more on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. The thing is this, and this is what I tell people. I'm the queen of analogies. Like I love a good analogy. And I would say, y'all, listen, don't come to me when your car is upside down in the ditch. You know how when you're driving down the road and you hit that, like you go over the solid white line and you hit that zoom, zoom, zoom.
Oh yeah.
Come then. Come then. Like you don't have to be in the ditch upside down. Come early. And I really feel like anybody who is seeking a mate needs to go talk to the therapist because sometimes we have some unhealed spaces that
Hmm.
cause us to choose the wrong person to love.
Hmm.
Sometimes when we're before we're getting married and we're negotiating the terms of this relationship or lack thereof, great time to talk to a therapist to learn some skills and tools to live your best life, to learn how to communicate and to disagree and still be agreeable.
Hmm.
um there are lots of transitions in life where it'd be good just to have somebody outside of your mama and the people that you know to give you some feedback. The thing about me is this non-judgment. I'm not judging you. You can tell me whatever it is you want to tell me. I'm
Uh-huh.
not judging you. I'm going to come and sit with you and I'm going to help you put the pieces of your life together no matter where you are. It's not about being sick, it's about being well. When you go to the gym to get a trainer, it's not because you're sick. It's because you want to be better. You want your tummy to be a little flatter. You want your abs to be, your muscles not to be soft.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like I'm a trainer, but like for your mind. It's not
I love
about being ill. And I know when I worked in the schools, most of what I did with young kids is help them deal with their parents, help them deal with the choices of their parents. Help, like sometimes parents might be drinking too much or smoking too much or not keeping a roof over their head or choosing the wrong person to love. And kids get caught up in the midst of this. So
it.
helping them manage their parents.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, but we all, I think we're not taught how to have successful relationships, how to choose a good spouse, how to um, work cooperatively. Part of a great society is you need families.
Yeah.
And part of the basis of a family is a marriage
Yeah.
or some type of partnership to raise kids and keep them safe and keep our coins. If we've
Yeah.
got little houses all over town, it's hard to build wealth.
Right.
But the first thing you have to do is be able to choose a good partner. And we're not necessarily taught that. Now, some people grow up in healthy homes and things and see healthy relationships, but many people don't. But I'm
Yeah.
like, no matter where you grew up, I can help you make some better choices and decisions and heal some of those unhealed places.
I love that, and honestly, I love what you said about the fact that it starts with that foundation. And even sometimes when you come from the traditional home, when you have the mother, father, and the good marriage, sometimes your picker is just still off. And it
That's right.
yeah. So honestly, ladies, I hope you're listening. It is a good thing, whether at whatever age, but even in midlife, if you find yourself starting love the second time, or finding yourself wanting to now tell, go talk to someone. I think that's an aspect of it I hadn't thought about. But that's amazing. I love that.
You should. I mean, because oh Lord, hmm, there is so much tied into who we choose to love, who
Yes.
we choose to feed into. I mean, the
Mhm.
thing about it is a love relationship can be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. It absolutely can be because you want to choose someone who speaks life and pours into your heart.
Mhm.
But if you don't feel worthy, then you choose people who show you that you're not worthy. And then that's a whole bunch of mess.
It
When
is.
if you fix yourself, then you can choose well. And
Right.
you can also let things go that aren't for you. You don't feel like I'd rather have this man or woman who sometimes is abusive or sometimes talks to me ugly or sometimes does the most because at
Hmm.
least I'm not alone.
Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes it's better to be alone, or at least for a season.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but to process these things, a lot of times I talk to people and I'm like, Lord, why didn't you come talk to me before now? Like I could have helped you with this. I mean, so it just so much.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because I'm 52,
Yeah.
so like at this stage, I'm at a place where I can kind of see the young part and also see the old part and kind of
Hmm.
see what I want to leave and the things I want to teach my kids so that go forward into the future. and I have
Yes.
greater insight into how to keep things stable and how to grow and how to build an empire. And even
Mhm.
like my sons are young adults, they're 19 and 23, but it's important that you bring them little girls over here, the ones you like, bring them over here because I can give you some insight.
Yeah.
I can help before
Yeah.
you get too deep and in love because um it's important. And I see some things you don't see. And
Right.
thank God, hopefully, I'm wise enough to say it in a way that you can receive it. I
Right.
mean, hopefully my son won't see this because I'm gonna tell y'all the story.
Do
He
tell.
had a little girl, he had a girlfriend, right? And
Mhm.
he had fallen asleep at her house and she went through his phone.
Ooh.
And this girlfriend that he had prior to this girlfriend said, "Hey, what's up?" He never responded. He never responded. He never said one word to that girl. He did
Okay.
not respond. But the new girlfriend was upset by that. And she was in her feelings.
Okay.
And he was telling me about it. And I said, "Sir, it's okay." I said, "She's showing you who she is.
Right.
If you're okay with that, rock on." I said, "But
Right.
make it easy for yourself. Change your password to her birthday. And when you walk into her space, just hand her phone, your phone over to her. And
Mhm.
all will be well. Y'all can live in peace." And he's like, "Man, that's ridiculous." Oh no, if you want peace, that's what you do. Because she who she is, right?
Right.
She shows you who she is.
She
I've
did.
been married for 25 years and never once have I been in my husband's phone. Never
Yeah.
once has he been in my phone. He
Yeah.
he he knows the promises he made because we was there together. I'm not
Right.
gonna. But
That's
if
right.
you want to live that in your phone life, you go ahead because that's who she is,
That's
right? He's like, "Mom, you're ridiculous." I'm like, "No, baby," which he got the point. He got
Yes.
it.
That's
He, but that's gonna be your life, and it's important to know when someone shows you something, that's who
exactly.
they are.
Yes,
Who
yes.
they are.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I think we need to do more of that, and the way that you gave that to him, it made him think, it wasn't, like moms do sometimes and they think that we don't know anything. But the way that you said it, like it's about choices and it truly is. And she
Yeah,
definitely did show him who she was.
yeah.
So yeah,
And she was
I
a
love
wonderful girl, but that's how she that's
it.
how
It's
she
a
was.
it's a lack
But
of trust, or it's the need for feeling that she didn't feel worthy of him, that she was looking for something. If you look hard enough, you
you
can
know,
make it.
let me tell you something. Absolutely, my husband's wonderful, but if I look through his phone, there would be something that would upset me. But guess
Right,
what? None
right.
of that let me tell you something. Choose your battles. Choose your
That's it.
battles. I have stuff to deal with right here in my everyday life.
Amen.
And
Sis.
and everything I need to know is revealed to me in divine right timing. So I don't have to look for anything.
Amen.
Everything I need to know is revealed to me in divine right timing.
Always,
Period.
honey. I'm a witness. That is true
Period.
to me. All
Period.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
So, my next question is, in your holistic approach to therapy, how do you integrate the mind, body, spirit, and environment to help people achieve meaningful change?
Let me tell you something. The older I get, the more I become who I've always been destined to be. Like I've been to a lot of things. I'm here to tell you. And I tell people when we sit down for therapy, I say, "Listen, at this age and stage, I've decided to be my authentic self. So I'm going to say it the way I feel it. Whatever comes up is going to come out. And
Okay.
this is who I am." And some people absolutely adore me. And there might be one or two people out there that I'm not their favorite. But if I'm not your favorite, you just let me know and I'm going to get you to your favorite, is what I'm going to
Okay.
do. Okay. Because you get a lot when you get me. You get therapy. And so I was talking to somebody and they were a medical doctor and they were like, "So you use," and they were talking about different perspectives. And I was like, "Listen, ma'am, like 25 years in here. I know a lot of different perspectives, and I can't say that I use just one. It kind
Right.
of depends on what I'm dealing with and who I'm dealing with. Okay, but just know it's like Prego. It's in there now. Um, I do a lot of things. Like I'm a therapist. I've got all these years of experience with being a therapist. I work with everybody from the baby to grandma. Okay, from 4 year olds to 80 year olds. Okay, but in addition to that, I am a mostly self-taught herbalist. So I also understand that there's some herbs and things. Herbs are for the healing of the body.
Mhm.
Also, I have a passion for us living a clean life. There's lots of toxins in our food and personal care products
Yeah.
that disrupt our emotions that make you feel anxious, depressed, nervous, scared. There are lots of things going on that we may not be aware of. And once you become aware of them, then you can make some changes. You can do things differently. There are some things that heal our body that we walk over every day and we don't even recognize,
Mm.
i.e., put your feet on the ground. Take your socks off and put your feet on the earth. It's called grounding. And the
Mhm.
negativity from your body flows into the earth. There's healing in the they look at people who live near trees are less
Mhm.
depressed than people who live like in cities like concrete jungles. Just the number of trees you have around your house is going to determine is it in part plays into how happy or sad you are. Touch that tree, hug that tree. You have some plants. You want living things. I tell my sons, don't date a girl who can't who don't have any crystals, plants, animals, something to nurture. To that energy is important. Energy's everywhere and everything. Um, the words we say.
Mhm.
This man right here ought to give me some money. Right here, The Miracle of Water. I talk about this book every day in every way. And
Okay.
basically, what it's talking about is kind of the same thing you learned in Sunday school: life and death's in the power of the tongue. But he's
Mhm.
able to show you the words you say to water and freeze and look at the images it creates. It is powerful. We are manifestors, we manifest all the time. However, sometimes we don't recognize the power of our own tongue. So we create stuff we didn't want. Be
Yeah.
mindful of anybody who sits around talking about the things they don't want. And it's
Mm.
sometimes people, I'll say, okay, what do you want for dinner? Oh, I don't want no pizza. Oh, I don't want no chicken. Excuse me, what do you want? I want
Right.
you to take a minute and tell me what you want, not what you don't want. What kind of man do you want? I don't want no cheater. I don't want no liar. Tell me what you want. Tell me what
Yes.
you want. So for me, everything is in play. Everything is in play. How you live, how you sleep, what you eat, your water, how you socialize, because all of that is in part who we are and how we show up in the world. All
Mhm.
of it is important. So when I think about therapy, I'm not just talking about therapy. I'm talking about your whole world. I'm talking about how you show up, what your hopes are, what your dreams are. When I start a therapy session, most people would be like, "So what, Sherry? What brings you here today?"
Mhm.
You know what I say? Listen, a lot of what we go through the day is tied up in stuff that happened yesterday. So
Yeah.
I would say, Sherry, tell me where you were born and who you were born to. Do you have any brothers and sisters? How many?
Uh-huh.
What
Mhm.
was your early elementary school? Did you grow up around your grandparents on both sides? What was that like? In elementary school, what was your mom and daddy's marriage like? How did they get along? Did you do good in school? Did you beat up the kids or did they beat you up?
Right.
Tell me about middle school. In high school, did you date? Did you have healthy relationships? You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Because there's a lot tied up into how we see ourselves based
Mhm.
on what happened in those first 18 years. It's important. And for me, to be my best therapist, I need to know. I need to know what it looked like. I need to know where you loved. I need to know where you did. I need to know because it all plays into things. And I can say, well, what does that remind you of?
Mhm.
Does that remind you of your dad and what that situation was like?
Mhm.
Oh, and sometimes just the awareness of the choices you continue to make based on where you've been changes
Right.
your choice.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. I mean, definitely makes you think. Um, with all of that, I did want to ask you because you did. There's some things that some techniques or ideals that you mentioned. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the first one being brain spotting. Um, yeah, like what can you tell us a little bit about what it is, how it helps individual process trauma or emotional pain, and how it differs from other therapeutic techniques?
Well, brain spotting is a really good modality of therapy. And it's not one that a lot of people use. And it's also very similar to EMDR, which is I okay, we're gonna look up what it actually means. But EMDR, but it's like rapid eye movement. And
Okay.
what it talks about, the tenets of both of these therapies is it helps it helps process trauma. But
Uh-huh.
mainly when we have memories, it's stored in our brain, but it's also stored in different places in our brain. Kind of like there's this book called The Body Remembers that and it speaks about how we hold trauma in our body. And in brain spotting, I have this little thing here and you so what I do is I do this and I move it and you follow it with your eyes and then I find like a spot that you like, and then you tell me things. And sometimes when you're processing trauma, just depending on where your eyes are, it kind of like gets in there and kind of cleans it out. Now sometimes it can be, there's so much we don't understand that even when we're speaking, depending on whether you're thinking about something that happened in the past or something that happened in the future or something that is painful, there's different places in space we look. So when you look at a specific place in space and talk about that trauma, it helps to process it.
That's fascinating.
It helps to process it. So brain spotting is one of the things that I use as a modality of therapy. But there are also other modalities, and you may ask this question, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it, and that is emotional freedom technique.
What's
And
next?
the tenets of that, and see, I really that's one I really, really use a whole lot because I do acupuncture as well.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and we have like 2,000 different acupuncture 200, excuse me, acupuncture places on your body. But with EMDR, it's kind of like needleless acupuncture. Kind of like when you try to turn your remote control on the TV and it doesn't turn, and then you take your hand and smack it one time and then you push it again. Yeah, it's kind of like that because the thing is, when you have like emotional blocks, the thought is you let your chi is stuck and it needs to be. So you tap. There's different places, like right here between your eyebrows is one that you tap right here,
Okay.
and then there's one like right off the side of your eye here and here and here and here, and there's like 8 of them that you tap. But what you do is say, um even though, like if I were a kid and I yelled at my brother, even though I screamed at my brother, I'm still a good person. I'm absolutely a good person. Even though I hurt him really bad, I'm a good person. I'm a very good person. Even though, and you do this because you're kind of reprogramming yourself. And also when you hit these spaces, it helps the chi flow. And sometimes they're a little tender. Like this one might be a little tender if it's allergy season,
Right.
and like here, but it's very good at helping your mind focus. I was at a school and I had a young child. He was in kindergarten, but he would sometimes get very, 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 very angry and like throw stuff and do the most.
Uh-huh.
And one day he was acting up and they ran and got me. They were, Rochelle, come on, come on. So I go running down the hall and I get there and I look at him and I said, tap, tap, tap. And he's like, ah! And I'm like, tap, 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 walk, walk, walk. And I tapped him right on out of that room. Right.
Right.
Then we got to my office and we tapped and he calmed down. But I'm
Uh-huh.
telling you, I was lowball a rock star after that. Like you hear me, like I was lowball a rock star. He just would give people the business. And I came there and I literally said 2 words, tap. And I tapped and then he screamed and then he looked at me and then he tapped and I said walk and then he walked. And they were like, whoa, you gotta teach me that. So then I would like teach the teachers and teach the class because the thing is, you think you're you and me and I'm me, but we're all just energy and our energy interfaces with each other.
Mhm.
So even by me tapping, and I told his classmates and his teacher, when you see him start to escalate, everybody start tapping. Tap.
Mhm. Yeah.
Don't talk, just tap because your energy changes his energy. It's y'all are all in here together.
Okay.
So I was like, boy, I can teach y'all it's not magic, but they were really impressed with me. It,
Honey,
it,
I
it,
could have used that back in the day when my kids were little.
you know what? I wish I'd known this when my kids were little, but we'll know it for the grandkids.
There you go. I love that. Okay. Well, so yeah, so you covered my next question. And so now I wanted to ask you, what are some common challenges your clients face in managing life transitions, and how do you help them navigate these changes? And I know you said you've dealt with clients from very young to very old, so I'm sure that that kind of changes
Well,
with
in
you.
this season of my life, I deal with, well, in my day job, I do sometimes see kids from like 8 to 18. Not
Okay.
that, but sometimes I do.
Okay.
I mainly deal with adults, which I like. It's good to change up things. Transitions, I think we have a lot of distractions and we spend a
Mhm.
lot of time on social media, and that really contributes to a lot of feelings of inadequacy. Everybody's living their best life and you're not. They're lying. Those are highlights. You see that's TV. That's not real.
Right.
Um, So I think the amount of social media, I think the amount of processed food, fast food, microplastics, like my uncle told me not to say this. We live in a world where there's a number of things that aren't for our highest and greatest good that are common and everyday materials. So it's not like you're starting from zero. You're kind of starting from negative zero because some of the foods and things that are fast and quick and simple are not the healthiest for your body, and they do things that disrupt your endocrine system and your emotions.
Mhm.
So you're you're playing a game. It's like you're trying to play basketball, but you got one hand tied behind your back and you don't know it.
Okay.
So it's transitions. It's a lot. Like people spend hours. Like there was this, I saw this thing on Instagram and it was talking about the breakdown of how people spend time, like through like the last 100 years.
Mhm.
And basically what it said is now that in this day and time, they spend more time online than they spend with their family. And
I believe.
that's kind of horrible. So as far as difficulty with people in transitions, I would say a lot of social media, um, a lot of time inside. Being outside is very healthy and very healthy for your body.
Mhm.
But we're indoor people. Air quality is terrible inside. I mean, like we need to go outside and eat some vegetables and some fruit and connect with people and have realistic expectations. And also too, like even the spending part of being inside and feeling some kind of way, people will do unhealthy things to fill voids in their heart. And I
Mhm.
don't mean like getting high and drinking liquor, which that's a problem too, but like shopping, spending 6 hours a day on social media. Um, it's a lot of potentially productive time that is lost.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. All right. So, next question. What strategies do you teach your clients to help them maintain mental and emotional wellness long term?
Well, that's a good question. But I would say connecting with people that you love,
Mhm.
the basic things you learned as a little kid, go to bed. See, when you were little, you had a bedtime. Your mom was like, go to bed, Sherry. You're not
Yeah.
staying
Yeah.
up on bed. We're the
Okay.
most sleep deprived, and I know I'm guilty as charged. I did a speech yesterday, and one of my colleagues, um, in her speech, she was talking about the importance of sleep. I went home and slept for 9 hours, 9.5 hours, and I sent her a little screenshot of it because I was like, I heard you, Left. I heard you. Yes, you were speaking to me. Um, Trying to live a balanced life. One, get you some sleep. It's hard not to be depressed, anxious, worried, nervous when you haven't slept, and then you got to
Yes.
drink all this caffeine to stay awake. I mean, and now we're gonna what are we gonna do? Have a drink of some wine to go to sleep tonight because the balance is off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spending all this time inside, not connecting with the people we love, looking into their eyes. You see people at the dinner table and they're like this in their phone. Would you
Mhm.
put the phone down and look at the people?
Right.
That. Um, and that's kind of basic stuff like your grandma taught you, but it's serious and it's really real. Also, too, being grateful. Grateful. It's hard to be sad and be grateful. You know
You're
what I'm saying?
right.
Sometimes I go to the deep end of the pool and then I'm like, Rochelle, no. I've decided to live in peace. And
Mhm.
when I say I've decided to live in peace, it doesn't mean that things don't happen that don't bring me peace, but I'm like, no, I'm not playing with you. I decided to live in peace. So don't bring me
Yes.
no bad news. Don't bring me nothing that's not peace. I've decided to live in peace. And there are just some things about life that I have decided. One, to live in peace. Two, to believe the best of people.
Mhm.
For instance, I was talking to my husband and some other friend, and they were like, "Ooh, the traffic in Charlotte and people drive crazy in Charlotte." I was like, "For real? I have not experienced that at all." And I've been here for like 25 years. What do you mean people drive crazy? And they're like, Rochelle, where are you? And I'm like, I'm here, but I have not experienced that at all. But girl, let me tell you why. I've decided to give people grace. So if
Mhm.
somebody cuts me off, first of all, when somebody cuts you off in traffic, you are making up a scenario. You're making it up. So when you lay on the horn and you be like, you SO, you made that up. You don't know that person. You don't know them. So
Right.
what I decided if somebody cuts me off, they are probably rushing to the hospital to see their baby born. Or maybe their mother is sick and they're rushing to see her. And I'm like, Lord, please be with him. Go, get in front of me. That's what
Yeah.
I, right? Now,
Yeah.
I say that because for me to know that I helped somebody get to the hospital to see their mother makes me feel good.
Okay.
Now, for me to scream and call him an SOB makes me feel bad.
Hmm.
Either way, that man doesn't know me and I don't know
That's
him. So
that's
if I'm
true.
making a story, I'm going to make up one that is good, that makes me feel good. So when my husband says, when his friend says, oh, people trapped and can't drive, that is not my experience at all. I don't know what you all speak of.
I love that.
No. And
I
people
love,
will say, "No, you trying to live your life through rose-colored glasses." I like rose, and I'm perfectly comfortable here. You the one with your cortisol all high and your nerves all bad. I'm over here woo-sign in perfect peace.
yes.
Mm. God bless them people. Yes.
I,
And
I love
also
it.
give somebody grace and mercy. I mean, like everybody has, you know how you might be doing something, you kind of go in somebody's lane and they be like blowing their horn, and I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. And they're like, oh, it's okay, it's okay.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
be the joy, be the peace,
Yes.
give
Yes.
people some grace and mercy. So that's how I live my life. And I feel like people give me grace and mercy too. So winning,
I love that. Definitely winning. Definitely winning. Ladies, I
winning.
hope you are listening. That those are choices, and it is a choice. I love how you said that because you can choose to be angry and yell expletives, or you can choose to believe that this person needs this because they've got to get somewhere and God be with them. And I love that. You know what? See, I'm going to implement that, Rochelle. That's what I'm talking about. Those tips.
Absolutely.
This is why, absolutely. Giving us some serious gems here. So we're going to pivot a little bit now, and we're going to talk about your Bay Street Botanicals, your beauty, health, and wellness brand.
Oh,
Yes.
yes. Oh, it's my love. And my youngest went to college. Your alma mater. Both my kids go to your alma mater, Sherry.
Happy
Carolina State.
Pride.
So we got Aggie Pride at our house. Even though I went to
Yes,
UC Greensboro, I do love those Spartans, but my babies go to A&T.
that's all
Um,
right.
I guess my babies left, and I was like, I need another project. But how it all started was like this. You know, it's weird because like when people say how did it started a long time ago. I've always been a person who kind of wanted to understand stuff. Growing up in Morehead City, we had this lady that lived across the street. Her name was Miss Rachel. Now, Miss Rachel was old when my mama was a girl. So she was real old when I was a girl.
Okay.
But sometimes if you got burned, my grandma would be like, go across the street and let Miss Rachel talk the fire out of it. And I'd be like, okay. So I'd go over there and she talked the fire out of it. And I thought it was pretty fascinating. And I was like, Miss Rachel, teach me how to talk the fire out of stuff. And she was like, I have to teach a boy and a boy has to teach you. And I thought, that's kind of sexist. But I didn't know the word sexist when I was a kid. But I was like,
Right.
I don't even know no boys. Like, I can't, like, maybe I can find one of my cousins to come over here. But like, they didn't care. Anyway, Miss Rachel got old and like, and then I asked her, and her daughter was like, "Mama done forgot all that stuff. She doesn't know how to do it anymore." And I thought that is horrible. Like,
Yeah.
y'all, the world has lost the ability to talk the fire out of a burn. Like, y'all didn't get this recipe. And I'm like, probably like 10. And I'm thinking, clench my pearls. How did you drop this gem? And it was right here at your house. Now, anyway, so that has always kind of bothered me. Even I'm again. Now, Miss
Yes.
Rachel, she died. She was 105, I believe, when she passed away.
Oh.
And Miss Rachel, if you're listening, could you tell me how to do that even now?
We
I
still want
just
to
say,
know.
they say energy's not created or destroyed, it just changes
It
forms.
changes.
But
That's
if
right.
you could run that by me, I would appreciate it. But anyway, so I've always been interested in stuff. And I remember as a girl, sometimes like one time I got stung by a blackjack, a hornet or something, and it hurt really
Mm-hmm.
bad. And my nanny used to dip snuff, and she like was like, come here. And she like put some stuff spit on my thing. And I was really grossed out about it.
Yes.
However, it stopped hurting. It stopped
Okay.
hurting. And see, my great grandmother came along in a time where they didn't have medicine and stuff like that. Like she
Hmm.
had to drop out of school like in the third grade because her mother was sick and take help her daddy run a farm. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, we don't even let third graders go outside by themselves. Are you kidding
That's
me?
true,
And she had been
right?
cooking for a whole family and helping her daddy run a farm. So she was made out of some different kind of stuff. But my
Mhm.
point is, when you grow up like that, there was no medicine and stuff. So if something stings you, you better figure that thing out.
Right.
So all these things are kind of in my head. Um, then I did a little research and found out that in African American beauty products, we have like 10 times the chemicals that other people's products have in them.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's like really concerning. And I didn't make that up. I look, yeah, that's really a thing. And I mean, formaldehyde, I mean, things that we clearly know are carcinogens are in our products. So y'all better read that stuff. And even
Wow.
things that are very common, like when my baby was hours old, when we circumcised them, well, not we, they circumcised them, they were
Right.
like a whole bunch of Vaseline in the diaper. So Vaseline is petroleum jelly, like the same petroleum that you put in your vehicle to run your car. You put that on your newborn baby. Now, Vaseline, people rub it all over their face, their ankles, their body. Y'all, that's petroleum. So I started making products for myself. And especially during COVID. Child, COVID, okay, there were some really bad things that happened during COVID. I mean, we lost a lot of people we loved. But once my
Yes.
money got straight and I was home all day, I did a whole lot of creating all kind of different stuff. I was cooking and baking and making lip gloss, but I started making things and then I would share them with my friends and my family and they were like, "Oh, this is really good. Give me some more, Rochelle. Give me some more, Rochelle." And the point is at some point you can't afford to keep giving all this stuff away.
Right?
Like, Rochelle, you need a real business because this is really good. So Bay Street Botanicals was born. I grew up in Morehead City at 1511 Bay Street. Bay
Love it.
Street is where I'm from. Botanicals is what I do. Bay Street Botanicals. That is how I come up with that. But it's funny because I've had a couple other businesses that are bit like I had Bay Street Home Investments. But you know what I mean? Like I love Bay Street. So I'm
Right.
just um that's my brainchild. And I create things that are natural and organic. And my very best friend loves fragrances. And fragrances have always kind of made me want to gouge my nose out because it feels like somebody sprayed them in my mouth. You know, it's just
Right.
too much, overwhelms me. And I've
Right.
always felt that way. And then I find that fragrances, especially artificial fragrances, um, are really bad for your body and they're carcinogenic. You know, like the plugins in your house and stuff, and your Fabuloso and all that kind of stuff. I know, Sherry, I know, right? And when you spray your perfume and it lasts all day, the thing that makes it last is a PFOB, and it's like a forever kind of chemical that even when you die and they cremate your body, that PFOB will still be in the ashes. Yeah, never goes away.
Oh,
Never.
hey.
I know, right?
Yes.
And they put those fragrances in everything, like in your lipstick, your lotion, your makeup, yeah, your hair grease, everything. But
Oh,
I don't put them in mine. So just
okay.
know, I just know. So I make wonderful products. Like this is one of my products that I make is a serum, a facial oil, and it
Okay.
doesn't have any chemicals and things in it. It's just all goodness, organic. So it's grown without all the pesticides and herbicides. Um, Also, two things for pain. Like I have this comfrey salve that I grow the comfrey in my backyard, and comfrey is known as a bone mender. So back in like World War I, you got shot in the field, they take some comfrey and ball it up and stick it in the holes, you know, and you would heal.
Mhm.
So there are things that very much will heal your body right here in nature without all the nasty side effects.
That is fascinating.
Mhm.
Okay. So you've given us the background and scared me to death.
Baby steps, baby steps. I mean,
Listen, I'll be on the website tonight. Um, listen, I want to support it anyway, but now for certain, I will be on there tonight. And I hope all of you will be as well. Yeah, that's a lot to digest.
it is. But and I want to say, listen, in a world like it is important that you have knowledge and it's important that you educate yourself about the things that you put on your children and on yourself. And I would say baby steps, baby steps. I mean, I know about the aluminum in deodorant, and I'm actively working on that. Working, haven't cracked the code, but I'm working on that. So
Mhm.
like, you can't. Even I have to like say, breathe, Rochelle. Like, nonstick cookware for Christmas, I got it. No, for my birthday, I got a set of stainless steel because of the nonstick cookware. But I just bought my son a set of nonstick cookware probably a month before then, and I was like, so baby steps. We're gonna do
Baby.
one thing at a time.
Yeah.
You know, as my Tupperware got old and got rid of it, I replaced it with glass. Um, Baby steps. I've
Yeah.
got a steel straw that I use as opposed to, sucking out of plastic.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Baby
It's
steps.
okay, baby steps.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to take some baby steps. We are going to go in the right direction. And
Absolutely.
we had already started doing that with some of the information, like you mentioned, the aluminum free deodorants. Now, granted, we buy them out of the store. They say they are, they're paraben free, aluminum, but I know.
I buy them too, but sometimes that secret tells. Just saying. Yeah. I'm done. Yeah, they have those aluminum free deodorants, but sometimes they don't pack that punch that Mitchum packs. Keep it in 100. I don't want to lose my friends because I smell bad.
This is true. This is true. This
It's getting to be springtime too.
Right, right, yeah, yeah. It's a little trial and error, but I definitely get it.
Exactly.
But what it has done, I think it's made more people conscious. And so that, and that with a lot of the things that you're saying, I think, and I hope this also makes all of us more conscious of what we are using on our bodies and, to be mindful of that. Because,
Yes.
yeah. Um, I do a lot of talking about here since this is a channel that is particularly for women. And yes, I say women in midlife, but women, period. We talk about self care a lot. And so, in doing this brand, the herbal products, how do you think the two correlate with the natural products and then the emotional wellness? So like mental health, we talked about it, I know, and this may be a redundant question, but since we're now talking about your products, there may be something particular you want to talk about a product, but how does it tie in, like using the natural products, like how does it tie into helping your emotional health too, because I know that's a correlation.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing about it is, what we don't so what was I had to learn is that
Hmm.
there are things and products that will contribute to you feeling anxious and feeling nervous and feeling, you see, so you may not get that.
Right.
The red dye in your Pop Tart and in your red Kool-Aid
Hmm.
is making your heart kind of feel a little racy.
Okay.
Okay. And if you don't know that, you keep drinking red Kool-Aid and eating red Pop Tarts when you don't realize that the red dye, the red 40, and they just took, I think, red 3 out of our, they said it was illegal, but the European Union hadn't let you use it in like 20 years.
Wow.
So recognizing that, like my grandma always had a garden. We had
Hmm.
fresh food. We ate fresh like seafood when,
Hmm.
I just saw this thing that was saying when you go like get shrimp from out, and they're like, "Oh, it's Gulf shrimp." No, it's like from Singapore
That's
in a
true.
farm, like
Yeah.
farm food. Lord Jesus, if you could see it, if you could see what that looks like,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you could see it, it would change your mind about it. Um, so mental health is not just one thing. It's kind of like, as women, you're like, oh, I wish I could get my stomach flat. Well, you can't spot reduce. You can't get your stomach flat unless you have surgery. You
Yeah.
gotta you lose weight all over. So you can't
Mhm.
spot reduce. So even with mental health, you can't spot reduce.
Right.
Everything contributes. The fact, and it's just, for instance, you need to sleep in the dark. You need to sleep in the dark because your skin has photoreceptors. Your eyes are always seeing. And even when your eyelids are closed, if there's light on, your eyes are still trying to see. So you're
Mm,
not resting. You need to be in the dark because your body is making melanin, and that melanin helps you sleep, and melatonin. It's important. And it seems like, why is it important? But it is important. But if you don't recognize that. Like if I
mhm,
had a kid, like a brand new kid today, that kid would be in black, black, black room. Okay. Not
mhm.
night lights, not the numbers from the cable box in your room. Mm-mm.
Yes.
Like I want all that covered. I want it so dark that you can't see your hands.
Nice.
All of
Okay.
it is that. The quality of our relationships, good girlfriends. Oh my goodness, women who have good girlfriends, they live longer. They report being happier, spending time. I just had dinner with my girlfriends yesterday, and I was like, y'all, I miss you so much. Like being with you helps me realize how much I love you and how much I miss you. So
Mm-hmm.
taking time to be with your friends,
Yeah.
um, things like grounding yourself. You know why everybody always feels good at the beach?
Yeah.
We're on the earth. We're on the earth.
Yes.
We're on the earth. We've got our bare feet on the earth. We're sitting our butt on the ground.
Yeah.
And that helps our mind process, and that negativity flows into the earth. We were
Yes.
not meant to be separated from the earth the way we are. So I would say what you eat, what you drink, the relationships you have, having proper sleep, spending
Mm-hmm.
time in nature. And if you can't go out in nature, get you a good plant and talk to it and touch it. And you see what I'm saying?
I
Because it's
do.
a living, breathing thing. If you've got an animal, sit and hold your dog, pet your cat.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
all of that brings really good energy. And get off social media,
Yeah.
sing you a little song, like, because sometimes people feel like everybody has everything that they don't have, when it's
Yeah.
not true. It's not
Mm-hmm.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say good mental health helps your physical health too. Like your blood pressure is going to be lower if you spend time with
Yes.
your friends and ground yourself and hug a tree.
Mm-hmm. That is that is true. That is true.
Yes.
Well, Rochelle, you have definitely given us some amazing gems, some things to think about and incorporate, some changes to implement like baby steps, right?
Baby steps, baby steps, baby
Yeah,
steps.
so we're going to make those steps. We're going to make those steps. And so I want you to take this time to plug all of the wonderful things that you've got going on. This woman is amazing, y'all. Plug all the great things you have going on, please. Where can we find you, support you, get your products? Y'all, in the ticker, I do have the website. So there's that. And for those that listen on the audio platforms, I will have all this information that she's going to share with us in the show notes. So go ahead. This is your time. Give it to us. What you got going on?
Of all, I want to say thank you, Sherry. I tell you what, you are an absolute rock star. And thank you for thinking of my company and your willingness to support my company. My
Absolutely.
intention is to be of service and to help people live their best life. So even as far as Bay Street Botanicals, it's the same kind of philosophy as my therapy practice, to want us to be our best. I make handcrafted products, and I didn't even mention this, but since we said it, I have this healing bowl. You see this?
Oh, yeah.
I told you I'm into a lot of stuff. Now, this is a healing bowl, and it is a 528 hertz healing bowl. So all my products are infused with the frequency 528 hertz. 528 hertz is called the miracle frequency. It literally heals your DNA. It opens your heart chakra. This is another thing that we oftentimes are not aware of, but the sounds, the frequencies we hear. When you go to a horror movie, I just did a speech on this yesterday. When you go to a horror movie and they play that music and your heart is beating all fast,
Yeah.
it's not what you're seeing, it's what you're hearing that is causing your autonomic system to react with that beating heart, right? When you go to restaurants where they want you to drink a lot and eat real slow, they play music that is slow. When they want you to get your McDonald's fries and get on, they play music that's fast,
Yeah.
right? So
Right?
there's lots of frequencies, and even music, like heaven forbid, when people are going to do something bad that they don't have no business doing and they playing
Mhm.
that music, it is
Oh, yeah.
not Jesus loves me music. It's
Yeah.
not, right? So
Right.
my things are infused because sound frequencies are important to me. Okay. Now I have products and I am on all platforms. Well, not all platforms. You can find me on Instagram at Bay Street Botanicals, on Facebook at Bay Street Botanicals. I have an Etsy store and a Shopify store. My BayStreetBotanicals.com will take you to my Shopify store. And you can reach out to me because sometimes I will like handcraft products. Like I have a client who's like, Rochelle, listen, I need some cream with oatmeal in it, something that's light and mild to kind of help me with eczema and some moisture. And I was like, I got it. Look, I'm taking it. I got it. I can make you something special.
Okay.
Just if you request it.
Right.
So I have a lot of really good things, and I have salves for. It's really funny because I have this healing salve, and I was at we were at a funeral, me and my aunt, and she was like, "Will you help me?" And so I was walking with her, and she's like, "My ankle hurts so bad," and I was like, "Oh, girl, I got something in my pocketbook here." So I gave her
Yes.
this, and she called me. She's like, "Rochelle, your cream works so good. I didn't even need my brace to go to church," and I'm like,
Yes.
"Yay, yay!" So I make handcrafted products, and they are amazing. And I'm biased, but they are amazing.
Yes.
So small batch, handcrafted, infused with healing energies. That is my company, Bay Street Botanicals, and my husband and I own We Ride Transportation. My husband told me to make sure I give him a plug. We Ride Transportation,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
And
We
the
right.
thing is, my dad was a trucker. My grandfather was a trucker. My husband is a trucker. His father was a trucker. We deep in them trucking streets.
Okay.
But for We Ride Transportation, we do executive transportation. And we also have a 15 passenger van. If you're in the Charlotte area or somewhere around there, you can give us a call. My husband's number is 704-968-8444. And you could also find him on all social media at We Ride, Facebook, Instagram. Um, and as far as therapy, for you all who want to come and lay on my couch, all my therapy is virtual or on the telephone. If you're in the Charlotte area, sometimes I do some like walking, talking therapy, some kind of hiking therapy. Um, I am on Psychology Today. You can just Google my name, Rochelle Moore Jones, Charlotte, North Carolina, and you can get in contact with me. It is well worth it. It is well worth the investment in yourself. We will, you know, get our eyelashes done and our hair done and our nails done and might even lay away some good hair. You know how that goes. But
Yes.
there's nothing more important than your well-being
That's
and
right.
having good countenance. So I would encourage everybody to consider and also too, most major companies, like if you work for a major company, if you work for a hospital system, something, they do have employee assistance programs, which is generally a couple of free therapy sessions
Mhm.
that I encourage you to definitely take advantage of. I mean, most mental health, well, insurance will cover mental health treatment. Most companies have employee assistance programs. I would encourage us to get it. And I understand why sometimes brown people might be a little hesitant because we have had some concerns with the healthcare, and I understand. I've been in brown all my life.
Right.
How um, it's important. It's very important because if you have good mental health, you're less likely to have as many physical health problems.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. So y'all, you have heard it. It has been brought forth. I hope that you will reach out to Rochelle Moore Jones for your therapy needs, for your beauty and health and wellness products, all the things. I need you to reach out to her for We Ride the transportation needs. Listen, this is your woman. She's brought forth all of the things that she offers. She's an amazing light, a wonderful spirit, y'all. I've known her for many years, and I'm so proud to know her. I'm proud of the woman she has become. And so please support her. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Again, if you're listening on any of the platforms, go ahead, check out the show notes, and reach out, y'all. As always, women, I encourage you, take advantage of the information we share. Continue to go, grow, and right now is your time. Tomorrow's not promised today, y'all. Do it today. All right. We love you over here. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.